Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families in the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Good morning, everybody. On this lovely, stop playing there. It's a Saturday, and if you're in North or South Carolina, hope you're doing okay. Hope you left, because you should have left by now. Governor Roy in North Carolina was telling everybody to leave. I don't think they let their prisoners leave, though, and I know they didn't let the hog farms leave, and I know the urine is all still there. I don't know if you're aware of that. That's one of the neat things about what's going on there. North Carolina is a giant factory farm production area, and they have these giant lagoons filled with all the feces. That stuff is all in the air now. Psh, everywhere. So I'm sure that's going to add to the funness of this. But don't worry, they were prepared for this tremendously big and tremendously wet hurricane, right? Trump says so. And the cover card is all about that. Just, reminding everybody that he is capable of taking care of it. And
he is the quicker picker-upper.
He is. Good morning. What a big audience. We have something cool today. Before I bring everybody on, and make sure this doesn't start. We've got some cool stuff. They did an upgrade of Livestream Studio, and it includes YouTube comments, Facebook comments, and I guess a different edition of Twitter comments, but now they're integrated, so I can just put them on screen. So I will be doing that. I built a basic graphic, so I'm going to show you guys this. Start from the beginning. Yeah, let's do it up there. There's Eco. All right, and I can just. Well, you're supposed to auto push pull here. Anyway, now we got the same thing that I used to be able to do, where we had people meticulously copying these things by hand and putting them in a spreadsheet. And now,
oh my God,
yeah, that was right. That was what we used to do.
That was my first volunteer job.
Yeah,
right at Uphill. I was a comment moderator and pulling comments. It was like, oh my God. And there was like 3 or 4 of us pulling at the same time. It's like, oh, we'd grab the same comment. Oh, we'd be in the wrong thing in the spreadsheet.
That was
and we had Bad Wolf Time Lady, staff keeping track of all of us, and huge schedules and who was scheduled for morning and afternoon every day, 7 days a week.
And I was just a complete asshole, and everybody ran like a beautiful machine. It was a very German thing, honestly. It was very
It was good.
Anyway, that's really cool that it only took Livestream 3 years to figure out that we wanted something to do that.
Yeah.
Believe me, nice. I emailed them. I bugged them. I'm like, do you see that we're doing this? You should really.
But can they have it so that it runs across the bottom?
Yeah. I can format it anyway. Just like the other ones, I can put it down at
cool.
the bottom. I just built that real quick because I didn't know. But it's the same as dynamic data, so it pulls it all. Can
you show the screen? Is it still pulling people's comments?
Yeah. I got to figure out the settings because there's a bunch of different settings to adjust to get it to keep going here. It's not. It should be auto pulling, and it's not. It's not. Yeah. So anyway, I got to figure out the details, but it'll scroll through just like everything else.
Nice.
You
guys are all famous.
Yay!
Yeah.
Remember how excited I was when I was first watching and my comments would get pulled in there. I was like, wow, look at that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So that's exciting if we have some live streams to do in the future to be able to use that comment feature. Well, good morning, everybody.
Okay, John needs to turn up his volume, or I need to turn down mine.
No, I probably need to turn up. I'm trying to adjust here.
Okay.
Everybody else
Thanks,
good?
Melissa.
Yeah,
You're
thank
our
you.
good sound crew.
All right, so what do we got to cover? Good morning. Good morning, guys. We have
Good morning.
full crew again.
Morning.
Good morning.
That's because we went to listen to Laura. I can go. I was more than happy to be the guy in the background. Remember? So, all right, let's talk about just real quick updates because I have several household emergencies that I have to deal with today. And there's a latte machine that's broken. I know it's one of those white privilege things, but it's still broken, and it's what powers the person that is the financial driver of my existence. So we got to make sure that she's taken care of, right? And then also found out we have a plumbing issue. Welcome to being on an old farmhouse. So I got to take care of both those. So we're going to make this a really quick show. Larry's in France still. He's out there enjoying some socialism. I know he met up.
So no Progressive Oregon tomorrow then?
No Progressive Oregon tomorrow. However, and I didn't get a screenshot for this, Valdez Bravo is doing, he's taking our time slot. He's competing with us. So Valdez, like, really, I mean, actually, no, he's just filling in, doing a live stream on Facebook tomorrow at 10 a.m. I don't know what they're covering. I think he's just going over stuff for Democrats and how we can, do more. But find him on Facebook. Watch that. He's been doing some really good stuff on his own. And we'll talk more about Valdez because we're going to do a round 2, right? So he and I talked about the last show we did. He got a lot of positive feedback on that. And we're going to do another one because there's more stuff that he wants to cover. So excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And just real quick, Mark K. Spear, thank you so much for volunteering to help me with the data. When I say data, I'm talking about this really boring looking stuff. In order for us to do what we're doing with the Map the Money project, we need to research every single individual contributor. There are 50 on this list, and that's the first demo list. These are the 50 top contributors to our 5 U.S. Oregon House reps, and in total, there's a lot of freaking money there. And we're going through and identifying which ones are what we will call benevolent organizations and which ones we will call malignant organizations. We're not looking for like good organizations because quite frankly, there shouldn't be any organizations donating large sums of money to our candidates, right? We want to get the money out of politics. So what we're looking for is organizations like Berkshire Hathaway, which we know are not really in it for the people's interest. That's Warren Buffett's company, mega conglomerate, and they own all sorts of stuff in the fossil fuel industry and the legacy electric sector and all that stuff. So they're marked as malignant, right? Group like the Union of Pediatric doctors and nurses or something. That's more of a union-related thing, a people-related thing. So we're going to mark them as benevolent, meaning we don't know. We're not going to say they're great, right? We're not out to find great, large donors. We're just going to say we don't think they're doing anything as bad as Berkshire Hathaway, right? So Mark is going through, grabbing the links, doing all this, and then we're going to take this. I'm going to compile it into a format for Kaveh. He's going to code it onto the website, and yeah, this is actually making some big waves, and I'm very excited about the fact that this project is continuing because we are uncovering all sorts of fun stuff about how money goes to our politicians and how it affects the vote. And now we're going to put the power of that accountability in the hands of the people, and they're going to be able to slam these politicians in social media with that information. And just ask. Explain yourself, right? So
right.
I'm excited about that. What are you saying, Deanna? I've given up on the chat too. Tulsi interview was great. We having chat problems?
Talking about Jimmy Dore.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy Dore chat, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Though Jimmy Dore had a nice interview with Tulsi Gabbard recently. And,
wow.
For those who didn't watch it yet, you should. She's very good, and I really like her, and hope she has a good career in the next couple of years.
Hey, Kimo, I think Jimmy Dore has already done a show about the New York purge. I think I saw that come through my notifications this morning.
Yep.
Did he do a show about it? Okay, I saw him post about it, but he did a show. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Real quick before I forget, we'll move into other news. Censorship is definitely increasing. Either that or we're just losing subscribers because we suck more. I don't know why, but censorship is increasing big time. We've less than half of the views daily than we used to, and I realize we're not producing as many shows. All you show producers out there, but
yeah, there's absolutely. And I'm sorry.
No,
and there's another thing I noticed. For normally our shows when they are watched a little bit later, a couple of days later, the numbers of viewers are slowly increasing. And but for our last show, it was still at the same point for 4 or 5 days right now. And this is kind of strange. And this is what I never noticed before, since we are doing this, and I'm pretty sure that we are not sucking more than we did in the past.
No, but I was unsubbed on several channels without my concession.
Yeah,
just did it.
Yeah. Hey, all 30 of you watching right now. Good to have you this morning. So yeah, I guess the bottom line on that is check your subscriptions, find out if you're getting, canceled on them, and please share our content if you can. I try not to bug very much for money because I'm more interested in getting this content shared out to more Oregonians, since we're really more focused on that right now. I know a lot of you are more, total national, international, and we are going to talk about that stuff too, but we really need to grow our audience in general, and it just seems like we're getting slammed again. But that would be, Facebook just enabled a right-wing newspaper to put censorship checks on what did they just do? Think Progress. They blocked a Think Progress article about Kavanaugh and his stance on abortion. Yeah. That's just not...
Yeah. Remember a couple of weeks ago, the smear of CNN against Jimmy Dore,
Yeah.
Yep, it's gonna get worse. She didn't smoke a blunt though. Tulsi didn't smoke a blunt on Rogan. That would have been awesome to see. I think they all need to smoke a blunt. Just an interesting generational thing, and I think then we move into. I got some 2020 updates, and we'll go into other stuff. Obama. Very interesting generational difference between my father's view, what would be my mom's view, although she would have been quicker to recognize the bullshit, and my view, right? And, thanks, Brom. You don't have to ask for money, John. I'll do it for you. Please donate to this channel and help us keep going. Thank you, Brom. I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot. My father got mad at me the other day. We talk all the time, and we talk in politics, and he asked me, did you see Obama's speech? This is the other day when Obama made the big speech, and he said, I think Medicare for all is a great idea. What a new, interesting idea that nobody ever proposed to me when I was running the office. When we had complete power to make it happen, nobody mentioned Medicare for all to me ever. What a great new progressive idea, right? And then what else did he say? We should all make sure we call Nazis are bad, right? And this is from a guy that did a lot more censorship back in his time of whistleblowers. He slammed whistleblowers, right? But because he was so smooth and so great, right, shooting hoops and smiling, we were all like, that's Obama. That's okay. Look at Michelle, right?
Aren't they
great
cute?
couple. Yeah. Right?
Look how well they get along with the Bushes now. Isn't that nice?
Aw, thanks, Jilly Love. Here's some cash, John. Thanks. Appreciate that. Interrupting this just for a quick message. Our revolution has been doing a good job. So have all the other major progressive organizations. We've got more than 100 women that have won primaries that are going to be running, to finish their elections to be in office. That's huge. All right, that's in U.S. House alone. So we've got a big chunk of wins that we've had happen. I think there were 81 wins in primaries this year in our revolution candidates alone. That's a lot. They're sending out the emails now asking for money, and I will be donating. I donate to a bunch of different people. I take my little tiny paycheck and I donate a good portion of it to other entities because we rely on those entities to help us. So I'm just letting you know that I'm being honest, that I send $5 to, I actually have a annual subscription with The Intercept because I believe they're one of the finest investigative journalism networks out there. And I donate to Our Revolution because I know Nina Turner and I believe in the work that they're doing. So my statement to you about that is, when you have it, donate it to a candidate you believe in. Donate it to an organization you believe in. But they need this. We don't want to do it, but they need this to move forward. Until we get money out of politics, money is the driving resource in politics. And so I'm just going to make that pitch. My dad and Obama, my dad got mad at me for saying that Obama was never a friend of the press, and is a total hypocrite for talking about Medicare for all and pushing it now as a progressive idea, right? While he's endorsing people that don't even endorse Medicare for all, right? He's endorsing other people. One side of his mouth is going, I recommend this non-progressive Democrat. You should do this progressive thing over here called Medicare for all. What a great progressive idea, right? So my dad got mad. I don't want to hear you talk bad about Obama. But the next day he sends me an email. John, there was an article in his local paper from the LA Times saying pretty much everything I just said.
Oh, wow.
And my dad went, you were right. Right?
Your dad is great, John.
This is my favorite thing. Yeah, I mean, we all get indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated about Bill Clinton for a long time.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great guy, and then somebody let's pull that head out of your ass and let's show you what Bill really did, right? I think a lot of Americans, my dad's generation, are waking up to these things. So it's just a shock value, and give them a little credit for. I just want to say that.
Listen, even for me as a German, I was enthusiastic about Obama, and I was so mad at Merkel when she denied him to speak. Where was it? Brandenburger Tor, the Brandenburg Gate. Oh, really? And yeah. It was, I think, before he got into office, but he was already elected.
Yeah, before.
She denied it. She didn't thought it was necessary for him to speak there at such a historic place, and. I was so disappointed and was angry about Merkel, And now after 8 years of Obama and all, we know what happened in his period. The end result is not convincing, to say it like this.
Yeah. Well, like I told my dad, he's safe now with his millions of dollars because they're worth 30 times what they were worth when they came into office. Because that's what it's for, right? Career.
But you hear this every time. Every time a politician is out of office, and quit his. They are all quick and perfect with good advices, what to do in certain cases, But I'm always asking myself, why didn't they do this when they were in office,
Exactly.
It's easier after.
Of course, it's easier,
So here, and now I can do this. I agree, Dan.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We can do that. I like that.
I know. I can show everybody's comments. We were never supposed to be loyal to our representatives. They're supposed to be loyal to us. Exactly.
Yeah, Bram got it. Yeah.
I like this one. Melissa, Obama should be known as the drone president. Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, now I got to take this out. See, I got to get used to the graphic. See. New graphics. Now, you might want to see, I can show your avatar in there. So make sure you get a nice snappy avatar in there for your YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody.
All right. No blue heads. I don't want to see YouTube blue heads.
Yeah.
What? What, Deniz?
No. I don't want to go any further with this.
Yeah, all right. Well, you should take a halo shot. You've got the halo, right? You've got your
Yeah, the holy grace to counter Trump. Yeah.
We all got halos today, I switched on the light,
That's true. We all have halos. What we don't have is the ability to walk on water and deliver bounty. That's
Damn it.
I can go through tremendously wet things and drop off paper towels.
I toss them so well. Nobody tosses them better than I do.
He's mad about that, apparently. you see that? Of all the things he's tweeting about, which is a bunch of shit, he's tweeted about the fact that there's a photo shot of him, doing the shoot with the. It's like, well, you did it, you dumb fuck. You went to the 9/11 thing like this, the double fist pump. Did you see that camera shot?
Yes.
Yeah, we're here. Death. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway. Nice text chat. Yeah, I know, Joe. That was awesome. I knew Obama was full of it when he laughed at legalization of weed. Yeah. How much you want to bet he's investing in it right now? How much?
Yeah.
His portfolio manager is like, weed's where to go.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. All right, so where are we at? We're at primary updates.
Yes, I'm like at the bottom end. Just finished my slides. Yay!
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, just sliding right in there. Primary updates. So, yes, this was our last week of major primaries for this election cycle. And it was New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and New York. We didn't have anybody we were following in New Hampshire, but it was sad to see that Jeanine Calkin, who helped found Bernie 2016 TV and was the driving force behind this for the first couple of years, or this year that it was up, who was a Rhode Island state senator, was elected 2 years ago, and she did not win her nomination for re-election. So
no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know if you guys followed that, or did you follow any of that in Facebook, Laura, what she was saying about that stuff?
It just sounded like they really mounted some opposition, especially right at the end. But I wasn't following.
They did. It looked like they actually launched a smear campaign against her, and it was kind of shitty. And obviously, it's a corporate dem, so
yeah.
Yeah, that sucks for Jeanine. Hopefully we can reach out and maybe see what's up, help her next time.
So her words on Facebook, thanks to everyone who has contacted me with your words of encouragement and support. I love you all. There's still much work to do and things are just getting started. Congrats to all the progressives who won last night. Kick some butt.
Yay.
So that's a thing to say, so love that. Next race we were watching was obviously Governor. Cynthia Nixon mounted a brilliant campaign. I think she got 35% of the
something
vote,
like that. Yeah,
the way it worked out. But as we will explore in a little bit farther down, there was some shenanigans going on with voter rolls in New York. So we don't think that this was necessarily a clean win.
No.
But nevertheless, no Cynthia, but she woke a lot of people up, and they with she and Ocasio and Jeanine and all the other folks that were stepping up there, their combined voices, I think, were very effective. The other one is Zephyr Teachout running for Attorney General. She did not win. Thanks everyone for your support. While the results were what we would have wished, we are grateful to all who supported and worked so hard for this campaign. Congratulations to Tish James. She'll make a fantastic Attorney General and has our full support. I haven't had a chance to look at what Tish James is like, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But so that was the bad news. The three that we talked about last week, and none of them won. But like we said, there are no losing campaigns in this election. This is practice for so many people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But interesting article though. This covers it well. In The Nation, big wins by down ballot progressives are going to transform New York politics, and the Independent Democratic Conference, the IDC, which has kind of been the working coalition of state Senate Republicans and Democrats working, together to kind of control things. So even when Democrats won elections and should have controlled legislative chambers, Republicans still called the shots on many issues. So there were all eight state senators who had been associated with the IDC were challenged in the Democratic primaries this week, and 6 of them lost to progressives. These primary finishes, which are likely to be followed by November wins in overwhelmingly Democratic districts, promise a big shift in Albany. So this is the big news from the New York primary, is these lists. And then I've got thank you, Deniz, for pulling me the list of the actual names. So the 6 that won, former Andrew Cuomo staffer Alessandro Biaggi defeated former IDC leader Jeffrey Klein. Former New York City Comptroller John Liu defeated State Senator Tony Avila. Former Bill de Blasio staffer Jessica Ramos defeated State Senator Jose Peralta. Activist Zellner Myrie defeated State Senator Jesse Hamilton. Former New York City Councilman Robert Jackson defeated State Senator Marisol Alcantara. And Rachel May defeated State Senator David Valesky. So that was a really nice slate that I think really got a lot of people's attention. If you want to see the establishment getting taken down by progressives, it's at this level that it's really going to, I think, happen most.
It is. That's fantastic. It really is. It's great stuff, and we just keep going.
But with all that, there were some they were running into a lot of voter purge issues in New York. There's an article from the Daily Dot. Voters in New York encounter problems at polls in Democratic primary. What a surprise! And they posted a tweet. Guess who wasn't on the rolls this morning at the polling place I voted for 4 years?
Right.
And Nomiki Konst was. I mean, Nomi. She went in and she wasn't on her way. So it there was just shenanigans all over the place, and not just in things like this with official voter roll purges, but things like an article from the Brooklyn Daily Eagle. I don't know if y'all saw this. This was all over Twitter. All over Twitter. The New York City Housing Authority posted notices on people's doors in largely Black housing projects, scheduling lead inspections on election day, and told everyone to stay home between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And this is a population that largely works night jobs as well. So it's like, okay, you pretty much, and they weren't dated. So it wasn't anything where they could say, oh, that was purposely done on election day. And so on the day of the New York primary elections, hundreds of residents at a Brooklyn housing development received notices from the New York City Housing Authority telling them to stay at home from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Housing Authority later claimed that this was a mistake and that the residents of the Marlborough houses, a development near Coney Island, should ignore the notice and go vote.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I'm sure they all got notified just as diligently about the mistake. And it's just ridiculous. And that just pisses me off. So that is my report about the primaries. Speak amongst yourselves for any details that you know. But that's it now.
Can I add
the path to the general? Yeah, go ahead.
We saw this in 2016 when the Board of Elections in New York purged 200,000 voters in the primaries, and they didn't get prosecuted or something like this. So as long as this is not followed up after and investigated, nothing will change.
Yeah, so a couple people were sacrificed. There was
but whatever.
Yeah, with bad paychecks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Interesting comment there. None of the candidates were. Who was it said that? I was looking at were any of the candidates not on the rolls? No, oddly enough, all the candidates.
Oh, at least yeah. That would make things really obvious.
Yeah, it would. I'm trying to show those comments, everybody, but I got to make a lower third YouTube comment thing.
Yeah.
So we, I'll get on that. We'll have that by next show, whatever. It happens to be.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you for the updates, Laura. We did.
You're welcome.
New York was a victory. I mean, we didn't take out the 3 biggies we were looking at, but right?
Yeah, we got to start somewhere. We've always said that the state, at the state and local level is the traditional entry point for people wanting to get into politics. You really don't usually start out by going for senator anyway, right?
No.
But that's more of a career politician move as well. So I think the people they're stepping up to the races that are available to them. And I think that one of the big things about our revolution, Justice Democrats, is they've even, and you've been doing this on the local level too, identifying spots that are open and actively asking people, hey, would you be interested in running for this, and recruiting each other. And I think that's another important thing, is just find a spot where you fit locally and take that first step and go from there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yes.
It's working. It's just slow. I think that's what everybody's complaining about. It's slow.
I know, but 2 years ago, would we have seen or predicted kind of some of these exciting victories from people we didn't even know, 2 years ago? So
No.
who's to say
No.
where we will be in 2020? And this has been a great training ground for progressive candidates.
It has been, and if I don't know if you look at the ages, right? Lots of women and a lot of under 40, which is what we need big time. Because most our voting populace is 65 plus, the majority, right? I hope that shifts. I hope all you kids that are tired of getting shot at in school vote, because you got a lot of old assholes you got to get rid of, old white men that don't give a fuck about you. So I really hope the youth vote. I know they don't want to get shot in school. I swear, if I were a high schooler and this were going on, I would probably have been kicked out of high school by now. There would have been bloody fucking hell going on. So, yeah, they're glad this didn't happen with Gen X, because Gen X would have lit shit on fire already. I'm so glad the Parkland students in that movement are doing things a little more diplomatically. Anyway, we've only just begun. Yes, Deanna, and not the Carpenter's version.
Just to your point, only 5 Congress people are under 40. That's it.
There you go. 5. That's a great statistic for you. So I was looking at a list earlier that just listed a bunch of the New York winners. I think they're all under 40, and a lot of them in their 30s. If you had said 2 years ago that a 28-year-old bartender from New York was going to beat what's his ass, everybody would have laughed your face off. Nope. Yeah. Not going to happen. You're full of shit. Bernie's flying unicorns, rainbows. Remember?
Well, the one thing I'm seeing here is that these are all people who, like, former staff. I mean, these are people who have started out as staffers and are moving up from the ground up, And so there is a stepping stone to this, and for people to come directly as a bartender in without being a staffer or something like that. Although I think that a lot of like Alex, we're volunteers, like for Bernie Sanders, and I think that counts as exactly that type of a pedigree. But
yeah, it does. A couple comments that I think are important. Brian says Sarah Smith got the national OR endorsement. Huge news, considering she's up against them. And I'll tell you what, if they hadn't, that would have shown a failure of the organization, because she was endorsed by local OR, and so the national OR stepped up and did what they were supposed to do. And so if there's ever a case where you see that, where the local OR has endorsed candidates but the national isn't, you need to give them shit. That's their job. So I'm glad that they did that, and I hope that they lend as much support as they can to Sarah. She's up against a guy who's nothing but a corporate ass, and the problem is he's centrist. So he looks good enough to most Dems.
Yeah, right? He's not scary. He's not scary enough to be so scary.
Yeah, and that's what sucks. He's not going to do anything. This is the argument, the generational gap that I have with my dad. My dad's like, well, how is it? He told me about the Democrat that's running against the Republican in the red district that he has, right? And the Republican's the incumbent. He's like, this is the centrist Democrat that's running against him. How would you run a more progressive candidate against this red guy? How are you going to convince? I'm like, why wouldn't you? The centrist candidate has nothing to offer. She's got nothing new to offer. She's offering affordable access to health care. That's bullshit. The hell does that mean? We already have that, right? Yeah. So I was like, what about? And then she's got this line, because in her area out with my dad, it's all frack happies. They're all oil and fracking out there, right? Colorado loves that, while at the same time claiming to love their environment. They're very much like California in that, right? So she says, our environment needs to be protected, but our natural resources like oil and gas do too. She's basically like, let's make sure we keep fracking the fuck out of the ground. We'll work more on streams and stuff and make sure we don't pollute. And not a fucking word about climate change. And she's a Democrat. Yeah. And she's backed by the party. Yeah. Her number one backer actually is Apple Inc. At $10,000. She's running competitively with the Republican in terms of cash, right? But it's like, what kind of a useless candidate are you? You're offering nothing new. You've got nothing bold. And if I were a red voter and we're looking at Republican I've been voting for the whole time, and this Democrat who's offering me nothing new, I'd be like, well, fuck you. Democrats want, and that's what I told my dad. I said, my dad's like, well, it's safe. This is safe. I'm like, no, it's not. It's stupid. It's a waste of fucking energy. You know, Deniz is raising his hand. What do you want to say, Deniz? We have to unmute, and then we could probably hear you.
There's a famous quote from Dr. King or Malcolm X. I don't know exactly from whom.
Okay.
But he said, beware of the liberals, of the white liberals, because they don't want to rock the boat. If you see racists, you know, the GOP or something, you know where they are. But beware of the liberals, because they don't want to change.
There you go.
They are comfortable with what they are living. And if someone goes in against the system or something, we saw this with Occupy Wall Street. Peaceful protesters were beat down by union police.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Well,
and we can only repeat ourselves, you know. The strange thing, the bizarre thing is, you know, if the Democrats would offer the people something, would work for the people, you know, on all levels, you know, they would eliminate the Republicans for good. They would not be needed anymore, you know, if they would address the problems of the people, the issues of the people, you know. And this is completely crazy, you know. What do you know?
No. You need all voices be represented.
Well, the problem is that the Democrats have made a lot of talk over the last 20, 30 decades, but never delivered.
Okay, yeah.
They don't deliver.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's time we get them to walk the talk. But,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, moving on, because I got plumbing, baking, and latte fixing to do here. Sorry, where were we at? Last week on UHM. Do you want to lead us into this, Markus, or how do you want to do this?
I think, we can start if you want with a little extract I put on here. It is Valdez Bravo and his take on the DNC and the Democratic Party and how it could change. And this refers exactly to what I said before. You know, it would be very easy for the Democratic Party to be successful. You know, but as long as they are behaving, or as long as they're considering certain donors much more important than the people's will, the people's issues, okay, then we got to see what happens, you know, and let's hear what Valdez has to say about it.
All right, and what Markus is talking about, everybody, is that we had our first get to know the DPO with Valdez Bravo, and this is a clip from that, and we'll talk more about that afterwards because it really went well, and we're glad to have the show. So here's Valdez. Jilly Love has this statement about it, and a lot of people are saying this. I think if the Democratic Party at the national level were to do something like this, it would just be destruction for their election. But they're saying Tom Perez can overrule all that stuff, and they'll keep Bernie from running, and they'll jinx it. And how do you feel about that? Do you think they're gonna keep their integrity? Do you think optically that would just be a disaster for them?
Well, there's this on social media, particularly. There's a lot of buzz going around about this Appendix E.
Yes.
That was in the reforms that we passed. And for those of you that are not familiar with what this is, it's basically a statement that the candidate has to sign saying that they'll pledge to run as a Democrat and they won't switch their affiliation. They'll run and serve if elected to the office as a Democrat. And then it also has a second paragraph that says that the party chair, the DNC chair, ours is Tom Perez, former labor commissioner under Obama, or labor secretary, that he can basically almost like has like veto power.
Yeah.
If somebody's not a Democrat, like in good standing, that is. So, when we had this first discussion with the folks that I was talking with back in Chicago, I was like, so tell me about this. One thing is probably won't make anyone feel too much better, but I guess this is the way that it's always been like this, that your candidate, if you were a Bernie or a Hillary in 2016, you had to sign a statement that said something to this effect in order to get access to the voter list. So it's kind of something that has not been as explicit or clear before, but it definitely was there. The other thing I'll just say that is, especially for folks that are worried that this is going to keep they're going to be able to keep Bernie down, or if he runs again in 2020, that the chair would just be able to veto him out. I honestly would if they were going to do that, I'd say bring it on, because I would say that would be insane for the party to do that after all these years, or these past couple years of all this work with the Unity Reform Commission, the keyword being unity and reform, which implies you learn something about fair processes. And if the DNC, who just now is starting to earn back some of that trust from, some of the hardcore skeptics, myself included, that things are changing, it's going to be different. If they did something like that and, Bernie's not a Democrat or, or to whoever it was, unless there was a damn good reason, like something just blatantly horrible or illegal, like some of the stuff maybe we knew about Trump before he was there. But if they did that and overruled democracy with that top-down approach, I think it would be a death knell for the Democratic National Committee. I think that would be the death of the party as we know it, and that would probably, lead to some, the rise of maybe, DSA, Democratic Social, turning into a big party or working families, or I don't know what would happen, but I know that the future of progressive politics in America, if that happened, would not be with the Democrats. So
there you go. That's it. And Valdez laid it out. I mean, then I think we'd be done. if that happened, there'd be like a massive revolt anyway. That would be like chaos in the streets. It's just too much. I'm surprised that hasn't happened already, honestly.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's the last chance, and if they blow it, and what we saw from New York, another story, where voters were prevented from voting, well, it doesn't shed a good light on them, and they should be very careful about it.
Absolutely. Yep. What were you saying, Deniz?
Just saying yes. Oh, that's all.
Are you acknowledging? Okay, that's fine. Well, good. Yeah, so that's a good conversation with Valdez. We'll talk more about it. We all need to not trust the Democratic Party and be a part of the Democratic Party. I'm a part of the party. I trust individuals within the party, and I don't trust other individuals within the party, right? It's just the way it is. And the more you network and the more people you know, the more you get to learn who's really working for the people and who's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that's really what you're trying to determine. Who's working for the people here in our democracy and who's a piece of shit that you need to shine a big fucking spotlight on, rat out, and get rid of. Yeah. That's if we want to survive as a species, that's where we're at. This isn't about anything but survival.
Yeah, and you got to start with the roots, and this is exactly what you are doing, with your survey, what, for example, now Oregon concerns, that you deliver the numbers, makes the right connections, what is happening with the numbers, what is the money for, who is the money coming from, and all this together gives a certain image, and it is important to know this, exactly this is important.
Right. And it's interesting I'm going to just bring this up because Valdez been posting a lot. Valdez posts a lot on Facebook. I mean, understand that it wouldn't be that cool if he wasn't the first vice chair of the Democratic Party of Oregon. Right? But he's posting and he's engaging people and other people that are members of the party. And we're having these serious discussions. You better believe that the other members of the executive branch of the Democratic Party of Oregon are going to pay attention. They are. And this message is going to get to the people in power, right? And one of them, as Valdez posted the other day about Kate Brown, Governor Kate Brown. We've got to reelect Kate Brown. And I may end up having to vote for Kate Brown because I believe she's a good Democrat, but I also believe she's a corporate Democrat. And I do believe those two can entwine. I do believe you can come in as a Democrat wanting to do good and end up taking a bunch of money and get yourself in a position that really sucks, right? And here's the thing. Kate hasn't taken a solid stance on Medicare for all. I don't understand that. Obama backs it now. It's a great new idea, And apparently the Democratic Party is afraid to take a stand on that when 70% of the Democratic Party wants it nationally and 54% of the Republican Party want it nationally. So my message to Kate Brown is, if you don't back it now, even after you get elected, especially after you get elected, we will be on your ass every day. We will make your life a living fucking hell until you break and you sign the bill. Because that's our job. If we have an employee that refuses to do the job, we will pound that employee into the ground until they do it, or we can get you out of office. So that's my message of determination. We have to elect a Democrat that's not really towing the line like we want them to keep them in power. Fine. And then we're going to be on them every day. And part of the reason we're building the Money Map app is to put that power in your hands so you could blast Kate Brown with social media about her refusal to accept Medicare for all or back it. And just it does more damage to a candidate that way than any other way. So I just want to say that about that. It's a very interesting discussion. And this is, remember 2 years ago, maybe not even 2 years, a year ago, remember everybody was whining about litmus tests. You don't need a litmus test. How can you have a litmus test for Democrats? Don't do that. Right? It's like, fuck yeah. It's called standards. We write a platform so that we have standards for our employees, and we expect our employees to follow those standards. And if they don't, we're going to get rid of them. You can call it a litmus test. I call it standards.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And if you see what's happening, what's slowly happening, and more and more of those politicians from the Democratic side are jumping over the first hurdle, because it is, for example, Medicare for all.
Yep.
This is the absolute minimum you can expect from a politician today. And if they don't cross this, if they don't follow this, they are done, and more realize that they have to, they have to stand for this.
Exactly.
All the others, they will be gone.
You just nailed it. Understand this. By pushing Medicare for all relentlessly as the narrative, constantly, by continually driving the facts. I mean, think about it. We've been pushing this, all right? I mean, people have been pushing this for decades, but we have been pushing it as a BTV team and whatnot since the Bernie movement, right? And now it's become a norm. It's become acceptable, right? You can do this with anything. You could do it with pedophilia. You could do it with Medicare for all. Right? Just depends on what you want to do it with. How do you want to push that narrative? And now it's become acceptable. And our candidates are finding out that if they want to stay in power, they better goddamn accept it. This is how it works. This is it.
Yeah.
This is how it works. And it took a lot of fucking effort, and it was tireless, and it was irritating. And we're never going to get it better until we put people in office that actually do what we want before we get on their ass. But we're never going to be able to stop being on their ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, good statement, Marcus. Let's move on to Charles. Tell us about, we had We the People with Charles Mono, I believe, is in the audience right now.
Yeah, Charles is here, and it was very interesting to see what he has to say, what his local experiences are in his run for office, and it was very, very strange to see about the other woman who is running against him or not running against him. Now she's running against him. I forgot her name, but as a matter of fact, as we did the research, we find some other who was challenging Charles, and then we saw that the deadlines were done, and we didn't hear anything about any further ambitions of this woman, and then we thought, okay, it's done. He's running without any competition, and it's a clear deal.
Yeah.
And we learned from him that it's not the case, that she is still on the ballot, she's apparently doing nothing to attract voters. She seems to count on the name recognition. She's owning I think quite a big company there, and and that's all what she is doing, and she seems to be doing there. And I'm curious how this should work out. And of course, I wish Charles the best, because he is solid and absolutely a great candidate. And I picked for this one, I picked how he intends or already does the communication with his constituents, because this is the most important thing, to keep to be in contact with the people, to see what is really going on, what are the issues of the people. And if you can do or if you are doing this, and people realize this, this vote is clear, and Charles will make it, and I think we should run this now.
Should you win the race, you would continue to speak with your constituents?
Oh, absolutely. I plan on having monthly meetings in different parts of Ward 2. Because there isn't just one neighborhood in Ward 2. There are multiple neighborhoods. So I plan on having a meeting every month, pick a location, and meet the people in that neighborhood. Small community events. I'm actually doing it with my campaign. I have a community event tomorrow. It's a very small park called Littlefield Park downtown. And I'm going to do just cookies and lemonade. It doesn't cost anything. That's cheap. But I'm going to bring the community together. And that's my goal, is to really get the community engaged in their local government.
I think that's fantastic, because every time I've seen that happen, a candidate do that, Bernie Sanders is a great example, but, and you're running a very Bernie campaign from what I can see. And every time I see that happen, it makes positive change in a community because you're out there talking to people. And so I appreciate
many people I talk to don't even know who their city councilor is. They're like,
right.
They have no idea who Rowan Hogue was.
I don't know who mine is.
Counselor for 6 years. You should know that.
Well, he should have taken the time to get to know them, which is what you're going to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. You want to? Let's round it off on a half. Is that good? There we go.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, as I said, talk to the people. That's it. That's the magic formula, if you want so.
Yeah.
And follow the people, of course, and yeah.
Well, thank you, Charles, for running, and continuing it for him. I mean, it's the same thing we talked about during the show. For him, it's been a long battle. It's the second time running here, and it's just being tireless. Just keep going. Right? It's a marathon. So
it is.
Burn all the parties down and support independence. Maybe. Let's take over the government first. Let's kick corporations out of our government first, and then I don't care what we do with parties. I really don't. Where are we at for time here? Hey, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. How is everybody out there? How's the chat? What about Cenk and Anna and Farron Cousins and plenty of others? What are we talking about there, guys? I haven't watched Rachel Maddow for years either, Deanna. Since I first saw her shitting on Bernie Sanders, I was like, you're done.
Yeah.
I can't stand to see her.
All of them.
She flipped in February of 2016. We all saw it happen. Someone switched the little knob on the back of her neck, and all of a sudden,
somebody said, do you want to keep getting paid 6 figures? You want to keep your paycheck? Then shut the fuck up. Talk this way. That's exactly what happens. You know that. Yeah. All right. What else do we got on this? Yes, Deniz?
No. Go on.
We're down to Florence.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Markus and his horrible puns, but he really wins an award for this one today. Donnie's big fat wetting. That is an actual photo of the hurricane, right?
That was. They had to use a wide angle from from space to capture the whole thing.
Well, don't worry. You're gonna go off on this.
I mean, I haven't checked the news on what it is today. My last is they're just getting dumped on. Like
yes.
And when I saw this photo, I was asking myself, what is Pence thinking in this moment, And if you look at Trump, if you look at his face, I think it is perfectly Alec, This is not Donnie himself. Look at his mouth, This is
Hold on.
It looks like Saturday Night Live somehow.
Is Pence dumping something or so?
I know. Yeah.
It's looking like he's sitting on a toilet.
That could be. He's taking a big duty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Mother?
He's having some cramps. You can tell.
Yeah.
How he's holding his hand.
And this one is absolutely incredible. When you can show it again, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm quite there.
The last one. We are sparing no expense, and this makes everyone angry who knows what happened before, And John, do you want to talk about FEMA and the money?
Oh, just everybody's seen the articles, right? FEMA has FEMA lost $10 million, as well as many other agencies lost a shit ton of money. With $169 million was transferred from a bunch of our agencies to ICE. And ICE has requested $1 billion to build concentration camps. And since we knew that the concentration camps were happening like a month or 2 months, however long ago, they've increased incarceration. It's not stopped. And they've gone after the Vietnamese community now. They're just anybody of anyone who's become a naturalized citizen, they're checking your papers now. It's no different than fucking East Germany. It's no different than the movies we used to watch, I used to watch as kids, scaring us about how bad Russians are and the East Germans are, and show us your papers, you're going to the gulag. That's America today. Show us your papers, you're going to concentration camp, and the taxpayers are paying for this.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And the interesting thing is that the Republican Party or members of the Republican Party denied this. That it's not accurate. That that the money is not coming out of the funds from the FEMA. And PolitiFact checked all this. Because Jeff Merkley came up with this, he said that DHS, which oversees FEMA and ICE, did transfer nearly 10 million from FEMA to ICE, and PolitiFact proved it, and they found it absolutely true, And this is it's a shame, It's an absolute shame, and it's a travesty in the face of what's happening right now, with Florence, and unbelievable.
It is, but why is ICE nice?
ICE is, there's always so much bad stories around ICE, and it came out that ICE is not so bad as it seems, because they're quite nice, because they came up with this. ICE says it won't arrest people fleeing Hurricane Florence, And this is
how nice is that?
Yeah, this is incredible. They have these guys have a heart, And
they put the ice in nice. I think that should be the name.
This would be a good propaganda slogan for them.
They put the ice in police. That's what they put the ice in.
Yeah, just put a little heart, a red heart, and put then a white N letter in it, and it's perfect, And well, it's of course it's ridiculous. They are afraid that they are blown away by the storm and getting wet, maybe. And the really concerning thing about is the fact this one addresses John Pavlovitz, who is a pastor and author who is living in North Carolina. He says, I was sickened, or he wrote it, I was sickened drawing a line between 2 years of ICE empowerment under Trump and immigrants thinking twice about whether to evacuate, And he goes on, people of color would rather face the fury of a natural disaster than the cruelty of our government, and I don't blame them. They have good reason. And this says a lot, that people fear the government more than such a natural catastrophe or such a natural crisis with this hurricane.
It is. It's disgusting. Yeah. And it's our government, everybody. You've lost control of your government when you're afraid of your government. I'm afraid of my government. I'm afraid of the cops. I'm a privileged white guy. I know I'll just last a few words longer than the black guy. That's where we're at here. I just want to back up, Brom. They put the lice in police. I like that. and I just on that note, I don't know if you've seen what's going on with the Dallas cop that shot the black man in his home. They've now done a search of the victim's apartment and found a little nugget of weed, which they're going to use to back blame.
Yeah.
They haven't even searched the cop's apartment. She moved out of her fucking apartment. I mean, if you want to talk about being above the law, having no respect for it, this is the police. The Dallas police. It's unbelievable. It's horrifically disrespectful. That cop was not given due process. She was treated like a cop. Did they do a fucking tox test? Did they find out if she was high or drunk? Because I bet she was one or the other. They have witnesses saying that her statement about him coming and open the door is complete bullshit, because they say they could hear her pounding on the door, screaming to let her in to her own apartment, which it wasn't, because she's a fucked up cop who was probably high, and she was treated differently. They didn't do a tox test, right? They didn't search her fucking home. So I want to know when cops in this country are going to start acting like they respect the law they supposedly uphold for us. it's really disgusting, and I'm not going to go off on it anymore, but I hope to God that this shines a big light on the complete corrupt nature of our police force. 100% corrupt across the board, and it's disgusting. They are a disgrace nationally, and if you can find me a good cop besides Mike Butler in Longmont, send him my way. I'd love to interview a good cop. I only know one. Find me some others. But Dallas police, fuck you. You're a disgrace. Every fucking one of you. And Amber Geyer should be, or whatever her fucking name is, she should be in prison right now. Facing whatever the fuck she faces in prison in general pop. Like any other murderer would. My guess
Louise
is...
says that's the second time she's fatally shot someone.
Yes, second time. Second time. The first time I'm sure it was like, oh, make a better shot next time. Get back out on the force. Second time. There is no accountability in our police force, and we're going to have to put it there. There's going to be holy hell coming when we take power, police. Just know that. You're going to lose a lot of your privileges and rights. We're going to put you in your place, servants. Oh, just fucking amazing. Amazing the arrogance of our police. Just absolute arrogance. I know... I got to stop.
And fear, you know, it's you know, there's fear too. I think that with the current mood, they're all running on adrenaline and hair trigger. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course, tyrants sometimes are afraid also, you know.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of videos from people who are acting in regards to the constituency riots, you know, who confront police in public places, and what I see there only standing around there and filming a street, you know, makes cop checking what's going on, and they want the identity, want to know the identity and all this stuff, you know, and this they don't have to care about this, because this is nothing which threatens threatens the public, you know, and they are interfering in every bullshit, you know. I have the impression, you know, and it is fear, of course, but you know, my impression is that that people who go to police in America have a good tendency to be tyrants in daily life, and they take it to their job also. You know? Only my impression.
Yeah, I agree that there needs to be some better screening. What would you like to say, Deniz?
It's all intersectional. Bad training, bad cop.
Well, yeah.
Bad cops are not prosecuted for their crimes. Poverty, people are getting angry. Angry are the fault people. Cops are overworked, not in America and in Germany also. You see this. They get aggressive because they don't have time with the family, and so on. So all is intersectional. So you have to start with the root. I think it's training.
Of course it's training.
Of course it's training. We know that.
I heard 6 weeks in California to get a police officer.
Right.
In Germany, 3 years.
Right.
Just an example. There you see where the problem is.
Right.
That's all.
We know it's training, but really it comes down to our elected officials not willing to pass legislation to force accountability with our police departments. And that happens because our police unions use their vast wealth. And remember, everybody, the National Fraternal Order of Police, the largest police union in a fucking country, supported Donald Trump in 2016. That should tell you all you need to know about the police in this country. That they were more than happy to support a racist, asshole, pig, piece of shit motherfucker like Donald Trump. And yeah, I used a lot of words there, Melissa, so you're going to want to mute, because that's not going to go over well in your bookstore right now. But police endorsed this guy. Police haven't said anything about their endorsement. They haven't taken it back. There was no big clamoring of cops like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to endorse that piece of shit. They were all like, yeah, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. So our police are racist. They're greedy. I'm sorry, but I'm not buying the overworked, because quite frankly, they're just poorly trained. And when you're poorly trained, you just don't know how to do your job well. Right? There's no accountability there, and it's absolutely disgusting. Sorry.
It's quite easy. It's 6 weeks to be on the street with a gun next to you, and versus 3 years in Germany for training.
Yes.
It's that easy. You know?
There's more intensive training for a cosmetologist in America. Takes longer to be a cosmetologist than it does to be able to shoot black people in their home and then be able to blame them for it because you're a cop. It's just unbelievable. Quite frankly, I hope she gets hers. And I hope it comes from the street because it ain't going to come from the Justice Department in this country. It ain't going to come from the Justice Department. The Texas Rangers have launched their own independent investigation. Be interesting to see how that varies from the Dallas Police Departments. I bet you it won't vary at all. They're going to work together to have the same bullshit story to save this bitch's life. That's what they're going to do.
Because unity will be more important than justice.
Exactly. The brotherhood together. Only blue lives matter to blue lives, right?
Yeah.
All right, we got to move through quick. We're at 10:07. Yes. We stop talking about the cops because that's just that's one of multiple stories, right?
Oh yeah,
that's one of multiple stories happening right now with the police across the country. We know this; it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And the only way we have accountability with our cops is to replace all the legislators that back their unions and their budgets. That's it. And and I'll give you a good example. There's one Oregon legislator that's been in there for a long time that doesn't back the militarization and the police bullshit, and that's Earl Blumenauer. I don't know how he gets away with it, but Earl doesn't vote for the police stuff, at least when I was looking at his record. So it's kind of interesting.
Shouldn't we talk to him?
I'd love to have a conversation with Earl and find out what makes him different than the other Dems, because he definitely stands out to me where his money comes from, how he votes. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to Earl. I don't think does anybody out there have any bad things to say about Earl in Oregon? He's definitely takes corporate money, but not a lot. He takes more union and people money. The big corporate money Earl takes is from a company named DaVita, and they make kidney machines. So it's not like, he's taking fracking money or anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So it's the kind of Democrat we used to know.
Okay.
Back in the whatever old days those were. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. You want to talk about capitalism real quick, Markus?
Yeah, real quick. And we are happy to celebrate, a new generation of mega givers, as it says.
Mega givers.
I found this in Bloomberg, and I was, of course, you can imagine that I was pissed, not about the fact that someone is giving $2 billion to the homeless people and to preschools. The fact makes me angry that there are people existing who own so much money, because this is a travesty, in my opinion. And if you know that Jeff Bezos and the Amazon organization behind him, what they are doing, what wages concern, how underpaid their workers are, and Bernie Sanders addressed this 40 days ago, and it is there is no reason to cheer Jeff Bezos for this. Justice. It is just the same as last week when I talked about Nike. There's also no reason to cheer Nike for what they did. It was a clear calculation and it worked for them. Stocks are rising, and Jeff Bezos, $2 billion. I'm sorry. If this guy would pay properly and fair share of taxes, there would not be a discussion. There would be enough money for preschools and everything which would be needed for those people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, we got the quote from Bernie, the Twitter quote, count to 10. In those 10 seconds, Jeff Bezos, the owner and founder of Amazon, just made more money than the median employee of Amazon makes in an entire year. And this says it all. It's a travesty.
It does. This, I got to say, though, this pisses me off. This quote here from David Callahan. It's not surprising that the world's richest person is finally getting serious about philanthropy, said David Callahan.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. With big fortunes like that, the only thing you can really do is give it away. Let me correct that for you, David. With big fortunes like that, the only thing you can really do is pay your employees a living fucking wage. Maybe offer them health care.
Yeah, and pay fucking taxes. Exactly.
Profit sharing is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And they're going to market him as a philanthropist.
It's fucking crazy. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And if you go on, you stop there. You know, you got to go on with this tax. You know, unless you want the government to take half of it through the estate tax. There they are seeing the sign of the times which are coming.
Yes. It's not. It has nothing to do with philanthropy, does it?
Nope.
No. It's all of
not at all.
Which, you know, I got to say, in our posh living here in the Willamette Wine Valley, with our beautiful vineyard that we have outside the door, we did a massive tax write-off yesterday. We had the gleaners come by, and they took 128 pounds of grapes away, along with, like, I don't know how many goddamn pounds of plums. It was a massive tax write-off for us. I don't even know what it amounts to. It's like $5. But, yeah, so we're cashing in on that whole philanthropy thing, too. The difference is we're actually giving food away to people who need it. There's better ways to be a philanthropist. There's better ways to use your wealth, right? Just paying your people a good fucking wage. Why can't you do that, Jeff?
Yeah.
I know it probably doesn't give you the tax break you were looking for, you greedy asshole, but, you know, it makes you not a greedy asshole. You're still a greedy asshole, Jeff. Doesn't matter how much philanthropy you do. Carnegie did a lot of philanthropy. Everybody knows the word Carnegie. You know Carnegie? When I grew up, Andrew Carnegie, great philanthropist, Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie built the libraries of the United States. We have Carnegie Hall, Carnegie this. He was an asshole. He fought every goddamn worker labor law there was. He didn't give a shit about his employees until he was old and somebody said, you know, you were a dick face all your life. You're rich. You should maybe do something so people remember your legacy in a different way. And he went, you're right. I don't want anybody to remember me as the asshole. I need them to remember me as Andrew Carnegie, philanthropist. This is what rich assholes do when they need to paint a legacy. And then they pay a bunch of people to paint that legacy for them. Kind of like what Obama's trying to do right now. Right. It's a bunch of bullshit. So, fuck you, Jeff.
He could end homelessness in America single-handedly. It would only cost $20 billion. No homeless in America. He could single-handedly end world hunger.
He could.
This is around 30 billion, and we'd be left with 100 billion. What the fuck?
Yeah, do that, and I'll call you a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Do that, and I'll call you a philanthropist, and then I'll still go back and ask you why you couldn't just pay your employees a living wage in the first place, you dickface.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just All right, so there's that. It's terrible. Next week on UHM. Do we have anything next week on UHM, everybody?
No. Next week is our holiday week, as I call it.
Yeah, I actually that would actually be kind of nice since the primaries are over. If we could have a holiday week next Saturday.
All right. What is it? A holiday?
No.
No.
It's our holiday.
Apple Media holiday.
All right, it's our holiday. Well, okay. So tomorrow, just join Valdez because that's what's going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nothing else there. And if you guys want to, so we're not booking any. We don't have any We the Peeps coming up, huh? No. All right.
Nope.
I'm happy to book more, and I like doing these shorter versions. So, anybody out there, reach out.
Yeah, reach out, gang. If you've been on before, come back, and you're going to the general. Come back and tell us what your plan is for the general. But that's kind of where I'm going to shift now.
Yeah.
Is look to people as they support the progressive candidates that have advanced and help them get their way the rest of the way.
Awesome. So nothing on next week.
Nope.
Just, look for more updates. I may do something middle of the week just for fun. I'm really focused on the map the money, and there's so much data to be dealt with. So that's why it's been like this. But we're on social to chat with us. Keep going. I know we're not doing as many shows, but we will pick up on that. It's been a really tough week. We've had a lot of shit go down, right? And so there are a few things that happened last couple of days. It just made me laugh really hard for no apparent fucking reason. Just like at some point I just had to break and just laugh at silly shit. And this, I've been rather I'm cussing a lot today as opposed to other times. And it's just, I was talking to my dad, and my dad was like, I took all of your suggestions except I pulled out the anger. And it made me laugh. I'm like, yeah, everything I just sent to my dad in terms of Democratic Party suggestions was ripe with anger. It was all very, you know. And it's because we're all fighting this stupid, really, it's stupid. We're fighting a stupid government that does really stupid things, but they're also malignant and horrific and violent. And it's frustrating because we can't be malignant and violent, you know. And so it builds a frustration in all of us, and it causes us to cuss, and it causes us to say horrible, hateful things. And remember, there are no words you could say that are going to be anywhere near as offensive as the actions taken by our government. Your words haven't murdered anybody. Your words will never devastate the environment. They're just words. Okay. So for me, they help me get out my frustration. I thought this insult was phenomenal. This is just Mike Pence, very disappointed to see Obama become so political, which is just one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. Because it's Mike Pence. Some guy named Leonard, penis wrinkles live on Mike Pence's cream-colored face. That's why his mouth moves so sloppily. I have no idea what the fuck that means.
I like your response to it, though.
You made me laugh. What a creative and deserved insult. I mean, you know you're hated when somebody says penis wrinkles live on your face. That's and yes, Mike Pence, you are hated. I definitely, yeah, just we'll go there. So anyway, that made me laugh. This looks like it's really old, but I don't think I've ever seen it, but it does explain a lot.
I've seen the Easter Island Stonehenge bit. I hadn't seen the Washington Monument.
I mean, think about that. And we're going to blame this on the Masons, right? The Masons figured this out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. This is the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
Who
would put his giant cock here? The earth, the cock of the earth. Mother cock. Because we couldn't have his... Whatever, anyway.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It still doesn't show the Holy Grail, right?
No, we don't know where that is. I don't want to know. Somebody figure out where the Holy Grail is on this body. Exactly. The bunghole, where is it? Oh, gosh.
Hidden safely away.
And then just lastly, for fun, everybody, if you want something to watch that's a complete distraction from the devastation of our planet, the Great British Baking Show is what I'm currently involved with. And I ran down to Goodwill yesterday and bought like a whole bunch of baking tins and shit. And I'm just all on it because I needed something to do with all the fruit and just take me away from looking at the screens and feel like I was just doing something that had nothing to do with anything important. And so that's baking for me right now. And so I just suggest if you're looking for something that it's inexpensive, right? I mean, you know, just bake yourself a cake, bake some cookies, whatnot. Watch the show. It's on PBS, and it's really fun. I'm liking more of the European shows because they haven't gotten to the point where America's at with producing drama. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you recognize this, but America's Hollywood television found a formula that really works. It works with The Voice. It works with the World of Dance. It works with all these competition shows, which is basically set up a drama, right? Grab that emotional appeal, whatever it is. I lost my father. I came out, whatever. And then tell that sob story and then watch them compete. And then if they win or they lose, you've got this massive emotional drain that occurs. And you know, I don't know if you noticed, but as Americans, if you watch any of those, you watch a season, you're like, by the end of the season, you're like, I got nothing left. I got no emotion in me because they drew it all out watching these people and tell their emotional stories. The British shows are different. They don't try to create drama. It's just there. when you bake, shit happens. When you put a bunch of people in the same tent to bake the same things in a very limited amount of time, shit happens. So it's this very nice, natural disasters, but none of the disasters are that bad. Okay, so you ruined a batch of cookies. You know, that's it. It's not like we murdered 1,000 people or we, you know, put pollution in a toxic river or we're rounding up immigrants. It's, oh my, totally botched this cookie today and going to have to remake my dough. And, you know, it's just nice.
Oh, that was the London accent.
It was an attempt at a, you know, is that what that was? That's a London one?
Yeah.
It's weird that they bake in the tent. And it's interesting because you can tell when it's like really cold and then it gets really hot. They went through a heat wave in the 5th season and they were just like, holy shit. It was like 40 degrees Celsius in the tent and they were making sugar and it's all just melting. Those are the kind of disasters.
Falling over.
You know?
Yeah.
And the other thing I just got to say is European people, I guess British in particular, have this propensity for putting everything wrapped in pastry. Doesn't matter what it is. It's like, well, can you wrap it all in pastry? Well, yeah, it's a pie and a fish. Yeah, we'll put it in one pastry. It'll be fine. And they do. There's actually a pastry that's literally like 2/3 of it is your savory meat and potatoes, and 1/3 is dessert, and it's separated by a piece of pastry. Crazy British people. Anyway.
It sounds great.
Absolutely.
Come to Germany and you will see lots of pastry.
Oh, I know. I was telling Markus about the Schick torta.
Yeah.
We have 3,000 breads and all kind of cakes and yeah.
Yeah. Tent City just got notified you were alive. It's a little late. Welcome, Tent City. Glad to have you.
And it's right. We're alive right now.
Yeah. And yes, Chili Love, it's too bad global warming won't melt that ice. You know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you... more baking, less... John needs more banking, less baking. What?
Well, I have my problems with those cooking shows, you know, because I think to 66.6% they are ridiculous. You know, you can only see it, you cannot smell it, you cannot taste it. You know, so well,
yeah, but it makes me want to make it. That's what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna bake that. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna bake. I mean, half the stuff you can't because you're like, took them 5 hours to put that shit together, but the simpler stuff, you know.
20 layers, you know.
Guys got to watch the episode about the Schick torta because it explains German like OCD-ness. Okay, German. There's a reason Germans were able to perfect the rocket before we were, is because they're very meticulous, right? And a Schick torta is 20 layers of cake, but you bake each one individually. So you put the bottom layer on; it's very thin, like a pancake, and then you put it in the oven, and then you pull it out. Put the new layer on. Put it in the oven. It takes 1 hour of monitoring the oven to make this. What kind of a crazy fucking German comes up with a cake recipe? I think I'm going to sit here for 1 hour. Really? Germans. Anyway, that's it. That's it. Yeah. The last complete ridiculousness we have is this. Have you ever heard of Doja Cat? Anybody out there? I don't know.
I didn't know her, but she seems to be very, very popular, right?
Markus played. We were looking for a song to close the show yesterday. We were talking about this, and I had a suggestion, and Markus was like, "How about this?" I'm gonna play you a little bit of it, just to give you an idea what this is. There's a point, and I will tell you my point in just a minute, as soon as I get it. So, take a listen to just a few seconds of Doja Cat, Moo.
Yeah, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I go moo.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
I have no idea what that is. I just know that we have a world collapsing economically and environmentally. But somewhere out there, this is being created. There are people with time and the inclination to make that. that makes me sadder about the human race than anything else going on right now. Just not even sure to point to that. That's more than enough.
Yeah, and as I said, she seems to be very popular in the social media. This thingy, this video is, I think, from August and has now more than 18 million clicks. And 18 million clicks. As I checked her, there is also a controversy about her. It seems that in 2015 she twittered some homophobic tweets, and she apologized for this. Well, I don't know. It was just a funny and very strange video, and we just wanted to share a few moments of it.
Simply because
broaden our horizons or something.
Like Trump delivering paper towels as Jesus. It's just one of those things. And we wonder why we've never been visited by aliens. Yes, Bram.
We don't know. Maybe it's a top hit in the alien charts,
I think we're the equivalent of a monkey flinging feces in our own cage to the rest of the universe. We're just, look at those dumb humans. Never.
So what do we actually have for a song?
So what we have, though, is something that we can play. My understand, it's. I don't remember playing this before, but I kind of remember other versions of something like this. So I'm not sure. If you guys know where this came from, let me know. But it's Dear Congress, Your Thoughts and Prayers Are Not Enough. It was released on March 5th, published by Dispatch. And I don't know if they're a band or whatnot. I'm a little behind on the scene there with this. But it's about the Parkland shootings. It's a message to our Congress. I thought it was a powerful message, and I believe we can actually play it. I don't think it's been censored yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Yes, paper towels to mop up after the Florence flooding, because we're totally prepared. That's still going, by the way, right? The Weather Channel.
Oh, yeah.
The Weather Channel has been covering it like crazy, and I just. You guys didn't run that clip.
It's just sitting there dumping rain and dumping rain and dumping rain.
I didn't run the clip. Shit. I don't know where I put it. Go out there and Google Weather Channel reporter and look for the clip.
Yeah, I think I know which one you mean.
I watch this all day. All right? We keep the Weather Channel on TV because I'm always in and out from the garage or the yard, just paying attention to what's going on. And, they had 18 people put across in remote locations for this hurricane. 18 people. They've been waiting for days for it to take action. And when it finally hits, it's a Category 1. Then it drops to tropical storm. Now, it's flooding the crap out of everything. But it doesn't have the excitement that a Category 4 winds pack when they hit, right? And the Weather Channel does a lot of those action shots where the guys are like, push it in the wind. And it's really tough. And I'm trying to...
Yeah.
So
these dumb fucks are standing in the hurricane.
Yeah. So
ridiculous.
And we've seen it, it's really the action shots. It's what you get, There's Jim Cantori's, battling the 100-mile-an-hour wind. There was a reporter who was doing this, right? And he was bracing into the wind. He's leaning, and it looks like he's really battling wind blowing at him. Apparently, he was just trying to adjust his balance because he's on they claim he was on a piece of grass and it was slippery, they claim. But what happens is you see him bracing, and then in the background you see two dudes in shorts just walking casually by.
I just dropped the link for that in live production.
Thank you. Have you guys watched that?
Yeah, I saw that a couple of times. It's hilarious, and there's a lot of other people in the comments on Twitter posting similar types of things where people they're riding along in a boat, and then some guy comes walking behind the boat with his boots. It's like, not that deep.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this up here. It's when this stuff happens, you're just like, all right, here. Where'd it go? There. See, there's the dude. No, see, the wind's blowing from behind, right? The wind's pushing him the other way. But see the dudes in the background? They're like, whatever.
That did make me laugh this week.
Listen.
Only the surfboards are missing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been some great Photoshop of that actually. Look out, there's been, and this is a horrible thing, right? You guys realize that lots of animals died, at least 5 people died. Mm-hmm. The devastation, the destruction to the ecology, everything going on is horrific, and so we're not trying to make light of that. We're just, these are human beings being silly, you know. And the Weather Channel.
Well,
folks,
it's our media creating drama, like we were just saying.
It is, but I mean, those guys are out there.
Yeah.
They 24/7. They're standing in a fucking wet, and
stop signs hitting them in the head.
You know, so I'm not gonna laugh too much, but anyway, and this does not mean that that was fake. It wasn't a fake hurricane. It wasn't a fake tropical storm. It's actually happening. It's already gone above the rain levels and the flood levels of Hurricane Floyd in 1999. So it's already been a fucking catastrophe. It's already a disaster. All right. It's just going to be normalized by our press. It's going to be normalized. This is the regular state of things. Massive emergency. Everybody's going to have to leave. And we're in crisis capitalism. All right.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about the Weather Channel is thank you for your effort. I really wish you would say more about climate change in your discussions. Yeah. And you don't.
Yeah. Are they covering the big one, the typhoon in Philippines?
The Weather Channel never covers international unless they're showing the lineup of storms as they're going to hit the U.S. It's always about the U.S. I wish they did it international.
Yeah.
They really
the one that Manghoot or whatever that's going on in the Philippines is enormous.
Yeah.
It would make people suspicious there is something behind climate change, maybe.
Yes, we can't have that. Can't have that. All right. Now we're late. We're going to get out of here with the Dear Congress. I just had to show you guys that. That was fun. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
A little holiday week, so we won't be here next Saturday, but John might be in week. Is that what we agreed?
What again? Was that next week? What?
Yeah.
What?
No show next week. Holiday week.
Oh, you guys we're taking an official Progressive Weekly Saturday off. I'll probably do something just for fun, but you guys can all take off if you want.
Yeah, I might take a day off.
Laura's gonna take off. That's fine. I know you have a life now. Go enjoy it.
Kind of working on it.
I'll just stay here and bake.
Yeah. I'll come up there and bake with you one of these days.
Great.
Seriously.
Both kinds.
Yeah.
Make a show out of it.
Yes. Oh, and real quick, just for I don't know if I talked about this. For all you Willie Nelson fans, he's not a conservative. And I have no idea why anybody would ever think Willie Nelson a fucking conservative.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson is a liberal. He's always been a liberal. He's a fucking pot-smoking hippie. And it makes me really laugh that conservatives are like, isn't every country person country's conservative? No, country is not conservative. Country's just country. Uh-huh. Okay. Willie Nelson. Yeah. And I may not think Beto O'Rourke is the best, but I sure think he's a hell of a lot better than Ted Cruz. And I want to thank Willie Nelson for lending his star power to help Beto O'Rourke. See how that works? Because once Beto O'Rourke's in office, we're going to be on his ass about his corporate voting, because you know he's going to vote corporate on a lot of shit. So anyway, let's get out of here. Dear Congress, it's up to us to replace these people. And we're doing that. It's just slow, painstaking.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
No hands to warm, no bedtime story, no lullaby, no little steps in the middle of the night. And the nation's numb. Is this what our forefathers had in mind? What is happening in Washington? 'Cause it's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Oh, but my heart has died, standing alone in an empty room, except for my child, but she's not really there. And all the people have gone, and I wanna pick her up and take her home. Can't bear to leave her here. It's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Oh, bless the child, oh, rest their souls. I bet those lawmakers don't know this feeling that it's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Can you do something so that there's not more gone babies? 26, 58, 49, 14, 12, 27, 13, 32.